Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversation. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
See, silence is golden. You guys are like, what's wrong with it? Does he have the Cindy Brady thing? Remember that on the Brady Bunch when Cindy was, I'm going to be a star. And then she got in front of the camera and the light came on and she was like this. Anyway, no, I'm good. I'm good. I just finished putting some moisturizer on. I was ashy. And for those of you who don't know cultural slang, that means, let's just say, dry. Okay, so yes, I'm here. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's installment of Bathrobe Moments. It's Wednesday, the 21st of April, and I am so excited to be here. I don't think I'd rather be anywhere else except Fiji. I'm manifesting me some Fiji, y'all. I'm seriously, don't take it personally when I add Fiji to my favorite things to do besides being here with you guys, because I just want to see it. You know, they filmed Survivor on that island and I'm just in love with it. So anyway, yeah, I'm glad to be here. How are you and how are things shaping up in your neck of the woods? It's a beautiful morning here in Chicagoland right now, but it says it's supposed to get to, you know what, Alexa, I wanted to throw her across the room this morning when I asked her what time, you know, what's the weather like today. She's like, oh, and she says it like, you know, okay, I get it, Alexa. You're in the cloud. You ain't got to worry about it, all this. But I asked her, I said, so, Alexa, do I have good weather today? That's what she did. See, she just spoke up. She be scaring me sometimes, for real. She gonna end up in the garage sale this summer. She don't quit playing with me. But yeah, it's supposed to be down to 27. What? That's below freezing. And the sun's out right now. Snow and rain. Well, whatever. God knows what he's doing. It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood, and I'm excited about a lot. Oh, at the gym this morning, looking at all those TV screens they have up there. Of course, I couldn't hear it, but I was watching it. Oh, yesterday. So, Officer Derek Chauvin, past Officer Derek Chauvin, found guilty on all three charges in the George Floyd slaying, two open murder charges, and one manslaughter. I just heard this morning that both of the murder charges could carry up to 40 years maximum each, but they're asking for leniency because of whatever reasons. And then I think they said that the third charge was like 12 years or something, no big deal. Well, I mean, it is a big deal. But anyway, I just want to say this. This is why I brought that up. Did I tell y'all this? No, I just did this on Clubhouse. Okay. Listen, in things like this, I've just decided to take a new approach. Instead of going, good for him. He may have deserved it. That was a piece of oatmeal from my shake y'all just saw fly out on my lip. It happens when you're in your 50s. All the muscles just, So anyway, and there are no machines at the gym to build your lip muscles. I do mine by talking there and eating. But anyway, I had a woman last week who saw somebody on one of my previous shows. I'm not going to tell you who it was, either one of them. And she goes, why did you have that person on your show? They stole $35,000 from us 10 years ago or whenever it was. And I was listening to her. She sent me like 9 voice clips, 59, 58 seconds each. I listened to them. And then she sent she sealed the tomb when she sent me a thing that said, and I'm praying that God brings him down. What? How are you going to pray for God to bring somebody down? That's what the enemy does. And he does not need God's help. Trust me. So I said to her, don't you think, Lady X, don't you think it would be a better idea to pray for God to lift that person up? And so I say that tied into the Derek Chauvin thing. There are a lot of Derek Chauvins that don't wear uniforms, that do all kinds of unspeakable things to people that, So I just want us to remember when we are looking at these situations to look at them from top to bottom, bottom to top, side to side, side to side, corner to corner, and corner to corner, and pray for all people, those that are messed up, those that are bruised, because hurt people, right? I was one. You may have been one. All of us knows at least one. So would you do that for me? Just start doing that, thinking about how we can pray for even those who the 4 Agreements tells us to not make assumptions and always do our best and be impeccable with our word. And when we pray, that is our word. So just think about that today, would you please? That's the bell of purpose. It means that when you hear that bell ring, something great is going on, as is always the case here. And I want you to not miss it. So it's also a chance to share the broadcast out, a reminder to pass it on, pay it forward. It only takes a spark to get a fire going, right? So that's the bell of purpose. And at this point of the show, please help me welcome my sidekick. This is my version of Ed McMahon, Miss Lucy McGillicuddy Ricardo. I'm not even going to tell you what's in the cup because it was yesterday's. I just warmed it up. I quit pouring it. Sometimes you have a half a pot, just throw it out drain. Well, it doesn't taste any different to me. Some people say that's gross. What do you say? Put it in the comments. So my guest today, one of my favorite people on the planet. Seriously, one of my favorite people on the planet. You guys have heard me say this before. Maybe some of you haven't, but I'm going to tell it again. I remember the day I first spoke with Dr. Vicky Omifolaji. One of my coaching clients had an article in her magazine, Global Achievers, and she sent me the cover, my client, and she was way down at the bottom and I started at the top. I said, ooh, Global Achievers, #1 for stories of adversity to achievement. Then I saw this guy who looked like he could have been the new James Bond, a 50-something, I thought, like my age, was on the cover. I said, ooh. They put old people on magazines other than AARP? I said, I didn't even get to the bottom. I never saw Dr. Jan's name on there. I went to the masthead, and I was on the phone with Vicky Omifolaji like 3 hours later. And we were talking, and I was easing up trying to get the nerve to say, because I said I prayed about being on the cover of a magazine. But I prayed for it to be the next year. This was 2018, and I asked for it in 2019, but then she showed up, and I just said it. I put it right out there. I said, hey, Vicky. It's like, I think we were like, I'm getting the numbers wrong, but we were like, say we were 20 minutes into the conversation. I said, Vicky, can I just ask you something? I just got to get it out. What's it going to take for me to land the cover of your magazine? First time she'd ever talked to me, and I promise you it's the truth. She said, I'll never forget this. If I let it be 4,000 years old. I said, what's it going to take for me to get on your magazine cover? She said, Lord. That's what she did, right? She goes, you had the cover 16 minutes ago or something like that. And I was like, and I'm going to tell you something. It changed my life. It changed my life, literally. And there it is. There it is. Oh, you see my light ring in the picture. There it is. And she is just one of the most wonderful people. We became fast friends. She came to America, did some speaking gigs in Canada, here in the United States, also here in Chicago, which is the United States. And she served as one of our coaches for the Next Impactor, and gave of her time. And she's a busy lady. She owns Lipzy Cosmetics. She produces the magazine. She is a licensed psychotherapist. She helps her husband with his medical practice. And they had a string of clinics back then. She was taking care of parents and kids, and just, I don't know. And she's written probably like a gazillion books. She really has. And I don't know how she does it, but she does it. And we're so glad that she does. And she's here today to pour into all of you. So get your questions ready. Ask anything to this woman. She told me right before I came in here, that she is an open book. So without further ado, you know what time it is. Do what we do here, where we show our souls to each other. That's it. Show your soul and I'll show you mine. That's the promise. And we're going to do that today. Put your hearts into it. Put some hearts on the screen as we welcome our guest today, Dr. Vicky Omifolaji, the diva from down under. Hey, mate. Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah.
Good morning. Well, good evening. Yes. What time is it there?
It's 11:13, 13 past 11.
Well, how wonderful for you. I just want to say, I don't feel too bad about you being here at 11 something, because you stay up half the night.
Yeah, I do.
I know. We're kind of similar like that. So, man, we have a lot to talk about. Tell everybody a little bit that I may not have, anything you want them to know, and then we'll get right into it.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Lauren, for having me on your show again. I think this will be my third or the fourth time of being on your show. And it's always, always a great time that I used to have, and I'm sure I'm going to have a great time today. And to all the viewers, thank you for watching, or those that may be watching later, thank you, thank you, thank you. It's going to be a great one. It's always a great one with Lauren. You never know what you're going to get.
Ooh,
I'm excited.
I am too.
Excited.
I am as well. First of all, let me ask about your family. You have 3 beautiful children, 2 gorgeous daughters, a handsome son, and your doctor man who just had a birthday. Right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So how is your family doing?
They are doing really well. They are doing really well. They've been a great blessing to me. You know, the kids and the doctor man, as you know, is a lovely gentleman who likes to be behind the scene and just cheer me on in everything that I do.
He
That's
does.
fantastic. Yeah. Yeah, and the kids, they are doing really well. My first just graduated from university. She just completed a first degree in science, so which is good.
Congrats.
And the boy, the young man, is in year 1 in university doing accounting.
So you're nearly an empty
Almost getting there.
Are you looking forward to that, or not so much?
I think I'm looking forward to that. But of course, with COVID, you cannot really think so much ahead. But yeah, if whenever it comes, it comes.
You know,
Mm,
I want to get right to this one thing, because I know you can help someone today with this, and I'm
mm,
hoping that it will pour into you as well. Vicky, now we've all been in these weird places, strange places, different. It's just been different. God knows what He's doing with His world right now. But it doesn't mean that it's easy for all of us. And I'm speaking about COVID. And the past year has been so different for so many. And I know that it's been a real challenge for you. You've moved during COVID,
Yeah.
you've lost your mother, and recently your father. I
Yeah.
think what, 6, 7 months apart?
8 months
Eight
apart.
months apart.
Mm.
And I know that, especially with your mother, I'm not saying it was any easier with your dad, but with your mother, because, things have always been that way. And then it changes and can never be that way again. And you even told me, I was really concerned because, I've buried two moms. And so I knew, I don't think that no matter how old you get or they get, that it ever is an easy thing for anybody, no matter how the relationship was or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, and if you're okay with it, because you're a therapist, and my husband, Brian, Dr. Brian is a therapist too,
Yeah.
and I'm always curious about those of you who are trained in helping others in these very things. What was it like, and where did your help come from when you were on the receiving end? I know it was difficult. You feel like talking about that?
Of course. Every time I talk about it, it's just my time to get healed a little bit more and a little bit more. So any chance that I get, I do talk about it, and at least I'm in a good place to be able to talk about it. There was a time I couldn't at all, and yeah, that is a tough question, Lauren. And I'll start with when helpers, when they are down, what happens to them?
Right.
Where did they get help from? Because people look at you, they think, yeah, she's okay. Oh, she's strong. I mean, all through the time since my mom passed away, and the first 2 months, I was in a deep, dark hole. And that was tough. And I saw myself, I could see myself going through the hole. And it was hard because I was like, I don't want to go there. I've worked with thousands of clients, and I know what tends to happen when you keep going down, down into the deep hole, and there's no way you can find yourself. You can't get out. I don't want to go there. And I kept on saying to myself, what will my mom, if she's watching me, will she be happy with me right now?
That's what I did.
Yeah, will she be happy with me right now? But I had no strength to push myself out, to pull myself out. And I
Now,
kept
real
on,
quick, let everybody
yes,
know, because I remember when you say strength to pull yourself out, not just figuratively, but literally, because you couldn't get out of bed, right?
I couldn't. I couldn't
I
get
think
out
your
of bed.
family got really worried there at one
They
point.
were, they were, because they've never seen me that way. Mom had always been a strong woman that always know the right word to say in any situation. But that night, around this time, on the 31st of March, was when she passed. And I received a call and I screamed. I didn't even know where that voice came from. I screamed. I ran up the stairs. I ran down the stairs. I rolled on the floor. I was just screaming. I was just doing crazy stuff.
Oh my
And
goodness.
my kids were in bed. My husband was trying to hold me, and I was just like, somebody just tell me that's a lie, How do you explain a strong woman, strong in faith, strong physically, strong in every way, just like that, gone to where? I want my mom. This is me, almost 50 years old. I want my mom. Can somebody tell me she's alive?
Oh,
And for me, um, she had always been the kind of person that you go to when you are in trouble,
mhm.
when something isn't going right, because
Mm.
whatever comes out of her mouth will make you feel better. She always have ways around it that there's faith that she's got, the strength. Where she got all that from, I really don't know, but she always have ways to make you feel God is in control. It's taken care of. Move on. What else can we do? You know, that kind of a person, just like that, gone. And I couldn't get out of bed for weeks. I couldn't eat for weeks. My husband was actually worried
I
about me.
know.
He took time off work. I think he was with me for like 6 weeks, watching me like I don't know what else to do. I remember there was a day I was just sitting there looking like a zombie, and tears were pouring out of my husband's face, eyes. He was crying. I don't know what else to do. I'm lost. And at that time, we had COVID restrictions. You guys were free in US, but down here, especially in Melbourne, in Victoria, um, we had level 4 restrictions.
Yeah, they were
We
really
couldn't.
tough on y'all.
It was tough. We couldn't go out. You couldn't even go to visit a friend next door. If you are caught, you'd be charged thousands of dollars. Some were sent to prison. You can
Woo.
only leave your house to go to supermarket and buy food. You maybe stop on the way and you will be asked, what are you doing? So they check where you live, they check your license to see, oh, but you said you're going to buy food. Why are you
Hmm.
going to buy food 10
Yeah.
kilometers away?
Why you headed to the mall? Right.
Exactly. So all that happened at that time. So we were isolated. Everyone was isolated. We had no one visiting and all that. And it was just a terrible, terrible time.
Right.
And you asked the question, how, being the one that had been always been there for others, how did I do it? Honestly, Lauren, how I did it, I can't say it. I don't know. Because the other thing that happened was feeling that way, I started feeling guilty. I also started feeling like a cheat.
Like a
Do you understand
fraud?
that? Like a fraud.
Mm.
That how could you have been the one helping so many people? Now it's your turn. Why can't you help yourself? So that overwhelming feeling like, what is wrong with me? Am I equipped enough to even be a psychotherapist? All that trick, they were all going on in my mind. My little voice and my big voice.
Right.
Or just, the inner turmoil. And what I eventually did, I had to say to myself, I imagine, because I'm a visual person, all right. So I
Mm.
had to imagine that the dark hole, the big hole, like in Africa, we used to dig wells where we get water from.
Yeah.
All right. So now imagine that dark hole there, and you find yourself going in there, all right, and you're trying to get out, but there's nothing to get out with, no
Right.
ladder, no nothing, no strings, nothing. And I had to imagine that, Vicky, the way you're going, if you don't push yourself, you're gonna find yourself right there in the bottom. And what tends to happen when you are right there, down, down, down in the bottom, what tends to happen is you get on to a mental hospital or something worse than that. And is that what you want?
And
So,
Vicky, I'm gonna tell you.
mm,
Do you remember when I reached out to you? I
yeah.
don't think I ever told you how that went down. I got a download about you. I had been seeing, I knew what had happened. I'd said what I'd said. But you don't want, that people have a lot going on and you don't want to push and like get on the phone with me or whatever. But I
Mm,
said what I said and I thought that was enough. But then 3 or 4 weeks later, it seemed like every time I saw your profile picture go by, I would be scrolling or something. It'd make me take a second look. And then I stopped saying, well, that's the third time that's happened. So I actually went to your page to see, well, maybe she's talking about nothing. Then I looked at the last time you'd said something and something. I got the download, reach in, reach in. And I don't remember what I said, but I did reach in and I was so grateful that you reached back because an interesting part of that for me was when you did, I didn't even know this was possible, but it was like you literally had typed a whisper, like you barely could get it out, you know. And I was like, wow. And then you told me later, just how important that moment was.
It
And
was,
so
it
I,
was.
I bring that up
Mhm.
because, you know, I just think that we all need to learn from these experiences. And I'm hoping that you can throw the grappling hook 8 months into the future from that March 31st date and kind of talk about what was different. What happened in your mind as soon as you heard the news about your dad? You had the chance to do the same thing, run up and down the stairs, roll on the floor screaming. But how did that one play out?
Um, two lovely parents passed, but the way I reacted for one was totally different from the way I reacted for the other. There were a couple of things that actually caused that, I would say. The first was it wasn't like I was expecting that to pass, but that being 83, about to turn 84, I would already know that it will happen, right?
What was just happening
So
in LA? Okay,
for 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 mom, it was hard because it was totally unexpected. She was only sick for 24 hours, and we had all these plans for her. We were supposed to travel home and celebrate her for the first time in her life and do something wonderful for her. We had all this plan. I had a meeting with her through Zoom 2 weeks before she passed, whereby I was telling her, I'm going to do this. My brothers and I, we've talked about this and blah, blah, blah. And then just like that, without any conversation, and guilt came in, um all sorts of emotions came in. But by the time that eventually passed, it was painful because there were some circumstances that happened that made it a little bit painful. But because I dreaded going through the same thing that I went through when mom passed, I'd already kind of prepared my mind that when it happened, it's gonna happen. Because the way I eventually visualized this is, and it happened that I visited a friend few weeks ago, like 6 weeks ago now, and this friend, she have chickens that she just have them in her backyard. They
okay.
just, she's got like 12 of them. And she was like, oh, Vicky, so what are we going to have for lunch? And blah, blah, blah. And the next thing, okay, let's just have chicken salad and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah. So I thought she had chicken in her fridge. No. So,
Yeah, come on, girl. We gotta go on back and kill one.
yeah. Oh, Vicky, let's get to the backyard. She's got a farm, right? So with the chickens and other animals. So she just went out there and she just grabbed. So out of all the 12, there was one. She just grabbed them. She
It
just
did what?
grabbed one. And then the next thing she did what she had to do. And then before you know it, yeah, it's cooked. And that just
Snorted. Sorry.
brought it to mind that we human beings were like chickens. When God looks at us, it's like, who's next? I'm gonna grab you because I think you've done enough.
Ooh,
Oh no, it's that
that's deep.
person. Because yeah, I need him or her up there. Uh, yeah, you've done enough. Because if you stay here, you may you may misbehave and find yourself where I don't want you to be. It's time for you to go. So I'm like, okay, there will be time when my dad will go. I don't want to go back to the way I was when mom passed.
Mhm.
So in my mind, I'm like, okay, I've got to be prepared.
So,
So
Vicky, oh, I'm sorry.
yeah.
Go ahead. Finish that.
And the second part to this was that the restrictions, the level 4 restriction that prevented people from coming to visit. because as part of our healing, we need other people.
Yes.
The fact that no one could visit made it so worse for me, made it so hard for me to get over it quicker.
Mm-hmm.
In our
Mm-hmm.
culture, when something like that happens, you have people around you, people talking to you, people encouraging you, people, some people, they might not even talk. Just being there and holding your hands is much more than enough. But that was impossible when my mom passed because it was in the middle of restrictions. I had no family member except my children and my husband.
Right.
And it was tough
Vicky, did you
because
feel, did people, I'm sure you had some of the, bye, honey, have a great day, good luck on Dr. Tranquility. And um, did you feel, because some of the same, I would say, well, how would I put it? The people on your inner circle, in your inner circle, some of them were the same people that were there when you went through it with your mom a few months earlier.
mhm.
Did you feel like everybody was like, look, some of the people were like looking at you like, is she gonna go off like she did? You know, like they were afraid to trigger you, or you remember what happened last time, that kind
No,
of thing.
see, my husband and my children, yes, but because not everybody, I don't think people actually know what I went through.
Just the inside, just the family did.
Just the
But you
family did.
wait a minute though, because I knew, because you went silent. You went
Yes, I
ghost.
went silent, but people, I realized that people, they think I'm a strong woman. She's always talking and she knows how to get over it. So, except you and maybe a couple of other people, no one actually come forward to say, "Oh, Vicky, are you all right?"
Mm-hmm.
You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean?
I do. I
And
do.
I think they just believe that, yeah, she's okay. She's all right. She knows how to heal because she's always done it for other people. And the only
Go ahead.
yeah, apart from you that I talked to, there was a day Stephen had already gone back to work, kids back at school, and that day I was so miserable. I was just crying endlessly. So I thought, okay, I'm tired of crying. What who can I talk to? Who can I talk to that will understand what I'm going through and just give me one word? I only need one word, something, like when you want to have like a light bulb moment or
Mm.
something, just something to
I'll
help
take
me.
anything. Grip right.
Yeah,
I need a
anything. I
word.
just
Right.
need something to hang on to.
Ugh.
And I called this woman. She called me soon after mom passed, but I couldn't talk. I really didn't talk to anyone at that stage. So I now call her because she's a counselor.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, okay, we're from the same culture. She's older than I am, and she's a clinical counselor, so she should be able to talk to me and help me through whatever was going through my mind at that time and just calm me down. So I gave her a call, and yeah, she just talked a little, and she was like, "Okay, I'll call you later on." And up until tomorrow, she hasn't called me back, and I felt, oh my goodness. The fact that I opened up to her and not even a phone call, not a text to say, how are you doing? I
Mm.
opened up to you. You know what I mean?
I
Because
do.
I put myself in a position that if it were me, I would have followed her up. I would have
Yeah.
checked on her. I would have see how she's doing and all that. I'm like, okay, it's only when you are in a situation that you know who are true, who are truly friends, who
Mm-hmm.
are those people in your circle that you can call on to. um, but people like you, people like Brian, people like me, um, it tends to be difficult when we actually need support, when we actually need help, because people always think they're okay.
That you're okay. Absolutely right. And you know, the interesting thing I find about grief is that I have to put it in the same category as love, wherein unconditional has to be attached to it. And we have to allow each other and ourselves to grieve unconditionally, because, you know, some of us don't, like you grieved in the moment with your mom. I didn't find out that I had never adequately grieved on my adoptive mom until I was on the floor of the hypnotherapist 30 some years later. Wow. And I'd been, you know what I'm saying? I really, because I was a kid and I was being pinched on the front pew right in front of the casket by my oldest brother saying, don't cry, guys don't cry. And so I pushed it down. But the thing about that is, I remember that always happened to me, especially in the foster system. God would always speak to me and say, okay, put this somewhere, but don't hide it where you won't be able to find it, because one day you're going to come back here and you're going to need to be able to find it. You're going to want to find it. And I remember thinking, why in the world would I want this? You know, but as always, greater than knew what I didn't. And I went I'm going to go to one commercial break, but when we come back, I would like it, if you're okay, to talk about how grief has blessed you. How this, because everything happens for a reason. And if you feel you have now gained some insight that you never had, wasn't in a book, that you can now share the next time someone rings your bell or your phone and says, I need your help, doctor. I've just lost, fill in the blank. We're going to talk about that and more. Get your questions ready, and we will get back to the conversation with Dr. Vicky, in just a moment. Don't go away.
No one ever sees me, I'm losing every battle. No one ever sees me.
Okay, we're back. Welcome back to today's installment of Bathrobe Moments. I'm your host, Lauren Michaels Harris, and my guest today is Dr. Vicky Omifolaji from Down Under. She's in Australia. Before I bring her back in, I want to say thank you to my sponsors for today's show. First, Jillian Sandoval and her rehabilitation program for drug and alcohol for women. If you'd like to know more information, please DM me or look at Jillian Sandoval on Facebook. And also a brand new show, which airs today in just a few hours, Lounge with Legends, hosted by Marty Martinez and James Phelps, both veterans. And I'm a veteran, and I am so blessed to be their very first guest today in just a few hours, like I said. So they're from battlefield to business, how some of us, most of us, have made the transition from military lifestyle and mindset to incredible business people around the world. So join us. I'll go to the E360 Facebook page or download the E360 television app on your smartphone. Also, if you just go to Facebook and type in @Lounge with Legend, you will be able to watch the show there. More information, you can get it from me. Just DM me and I'll be happy to get you on board. Welcome back, Dr. Vicky. So before we went to break, yes, I wanted to ask you, let me reframe it. So you can take off. I'm gonna actually scoot off the screen and give you the floor for a moment. But I'd like you to talk about what you have extrapolated, what you took from this experience as a professional and just as another person that might be able to help someone, because grieving is not just when we lose a person. It could be a job, it could be you're moving and all your family memories are, you just left a home. I'm sure when you walked out, you turned around and looked at it. You could see your little kids as little ones in that same place. And so we grieve in all kinds of different ways, on all kinds of different days, for all kinds of different things. So I'm going to let you address that. I got a feeling you've got something special for all of us. So I'm going to duck out and just raise your hand when you want me to come back in.
All right.
Okay.
So, due to what I've gone through in the last 12 months and 12 months and a bit now, I know that grief doesn't, it's not one size fit all. Remember this, grieving is not one size fit all. We grieve in different ways and we grieve for different things. I've had clients that will come to me based on the fact that they were grieving because their dog died. I'm an African woman, born and raised in Nigeria. So when someone comes to me to talk about grieving for their dog, I listen and I offer help. But in my mind, I'm like, are you joking? There are people dying. But I've come to realize that for that person, that was so important. That was so important. So that's one thing. Then the other thing is that um, the way I grieve is different from the way another person grieve. Um, we grieve differently, and as you all know, there are stages of grief. There are levels of grief, and it depends on what level you are at that time. When it first happened, when I first lost my mother, it was terrible. I don't even think what I was feeling at that time or the level that I was at that time, no one had ever written about it because it was beyond something that I can actually put into words. It was much more than what I was talking about just before. So I realized that I thought I went within me and I realized few things that I've done with my clients and I tried to do them, nothing worked. And it got to a stage, and as I was explaining to Lauren before, that I felt like I was getting into a very deep, dark hole. And if I get into that bottom hole, that I had nothing, no way to come out, it would be very hard. It's gonna be a terrible place to be. I know that. And I thought, what is it that I want? And how do I want to live? because I didn't enjoy where I was. Yes, I've lost my mother. What I was doing, the way I was grieving, will never bring her back. So what else can I do? And I'm telling you right now, what I did was to keep moving. I kept moving. Initially, I couldn't do anything. Initially, I couldn't do all those things that used to give me joy. I used to do lots and lots of live shows, Facebook Live, E360 show, and all that. I couldn't do any of that. I couldn't. I couldn't even bear to face the day. It was so bad. So I had to say to myself, yes, we are under stage 4 restrictions. Where will I go? Nowhere. I couldn't even go to the shops. But I made myself to get up every morning, shower, do full makeup on my face, put perfume on, and then force myself to do a video at least 4 days a week. And that was the beginning of me pushing and taking the step out of the deep hole that I could feel myself getting into. I
Wow.
kept moving. I
Vicky,
kept moving. Yes.
can I ask something? And thank you for all that great insight. Did you feel, because you had grown, clearly, you had grown in understanding, because it's different when our DNA is on a situation than someone else's DNA on their situation, because we're not a participant per se, as much as we are, what do you call that? The person who watches,
Exactly.
right? And a spectator versus participant.
Mm,
Did did you feel that you grew? And when you, okay, so you're like, I handled it better the second time. But did it ever cross your mind like, oh, I don't want people to think that I didn't love my dad as much as I loved my mom because I'm not, you know, screaming and crying, or whatever it wasn't missing from the first time. Did any of that kind of stuff go through your mind too? Did you feel like you should be performing in a certain way that people expect? Well, she don't look like she's torn up about this. That's another thing. People always expect, if a person does, some people can't cry. And then there's others who barely knew the person. Take me with you, jumping all on the casket and stuff. I want to go with you. Always one, always,
mm,
especially in our family.
mm,
So what? And we always know, who gonna show up today, right? Right? So, but again, it falls into the category of we have to let people grieve in the way that they know
mm.
grieve. So what would you say is the greatest gift that you have in your world today from all that you've experienced in the last 12 months? Where are you today that you could have never seen yourself being because of all this?
I believe the ability to just keep doing these things that I've been doing. It got to a stage, I said it before, um, that I felt like I let myself down and I let all my past clients down. And
Wow.
I had to tap back into what I used to do. All the videos that I've done in the past, where I talked about faith like a mustard seed, where I talked about so many other things. And the times that I was doing those things, I thought I was helping other people. I was doing it to inspire, to motivate people, not knowing that I was doing it and preparing the ground for when I found myself in the deep hole.
Mm,
I didn't know that.
right.
I had to tap back into the videos that I've done. I had to read some of my own books that came out from here
Mm-hmm.
to remind myself what gift God has given me.
Mm.
And I had to say to myself that At this stage, my mom had gone, but she lived a good life. She lived a life of serving. She served to the last minute.
Mm.
She served God and she served human beings. People around her were blessed
Chills.
by her. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And the moment she was leaving, she said, God, have mercy on me.
She did.
She did. And then she left. Have
Wow.
mercy on me. So that gave me a great conviction that yes, she's gone to a good place. She's with Jesus. She's on the right side of Jesus right now, praising God. And she served when she was here, and now she's gone to a good place. So that gave me um, good feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And what I've now learned from all this was that whatever you do now, just keep doing because there will be time when it will be needed, not by
Mm-hmm.
other people, but by you.
Amen.
If I'd stopped, oh, maybe I only had five, or I only had 50 viewers, or I only had 100 viewers, no, this is a waste of time.
Girl.
And I just stopped, what would have happened? You know
Right.
what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
I kept doing, and I've been doing well before I met you. And I just kept doing and I just kept doing. And those videos now came back to help me. The books that I wrote came back to help me. I've come to realize that no matter where you're at, no matter what is happening in your life, don't you stop.
Don't stop.
Don't
Amen.
stop. Mm.
Do you
And
feel, Vicky, do you feel that you today are stronger, fiercer, because of learning through this grieving process? Because when someone, especially in our family, um, lineage, in the tier of responsibilities, and who's, like you said, she was the go-to person, and I didn't realize until my uncle, no, my brother-in-law that took his life last year. I didn't realize until a couple weeks after, when people started coming back from the numbness, if you will, that I
mm,
was moved into his role as the patriarch. I
oh,
know that would kind of mess me up in the head. I was like, wait a minute, I ain't the
when did that happen? When did that
I'm the
sign?
oldest guy. Oh Lord Jesus. Oh, you know what I'm saying? So I already started figuring out, you know, you know, um, what kind of dances I'm gonna be known for at the family reunions, and what corner of the yard they're gonna stick me in and stuff.
And jokes.
Right, right. So, but do you feel any? So now, what about that? Because when people vacate the space, that's the thing. Here's the thing that used to get me. When my mom died, I would wake up and the sun would be shining, the birds would be, and I was like, yeah, it's a great day, but there's something I remember. Oh, she's not here, and it would dawn on me. But then there are days my sister Sandra and I would call each other, and we still do, where we go, have you been thinking about mom all day today? And she'll say, yes,
Mm,
and
mm,
I believe I realize I have more. I have all that she was with me. I find there is more of her in me than I acknowledged when she was here, and I find myself praising and giving credit to her for all the things I use. Because she had some good, you guys think I got some sayings. You should have heard Lucille, boy. And so, and most of my content came from her.
mm,
So,
mm.
so I just want to know, as like one of these final thoughts, and then we're going to get into what all you're doing, where people can find you. So, do you feel like you can take on the role, or fill the shoes, if you will, in a way?
Lauren, I wish I can. If I can have even half of her strength, half of her faith, I will be glad.
I
I
know
will
that's
be
right.
so glad. But she was an incredible woman, and I wish I can, but I don't think I can. But what I've done with my siblings, I'm the oldest of my siblings. So I've got two brothers and two sisters. And so what I do is to have a group page where we communicate. So we talk to each other, we encourage each other, and we're there for each other. So that
Mm,
makes it easier. And so it's being supportive of one another, being there for one another makes it easier than anything else. And yes, I I talk about her a lot
yeah.
because some things that she did, how she did those things, and how she relates with people. Stephen and I, we were actually discussing this a few days ago, that she lived a life not to please other people. You said something before, which was I worried about what people were thinking when my dad passed?
Right.
I wasn't being, I wasn't emotional as I was with my mother, and I thought about it. It came to my mind, but I said to myself, I'm not here to please anyone. I
Yeah,
loved I loved my dad when he was here. I looked after my dad when he was here, and I had no regret at all. Okay.
that's
Um,
right.
the last after my mom passed, my dad was taken away by my stepbrother, and he was isolated. So we couldn't talk to him. Whenever we call him, his phone was always ringing out. So that made it a little bit difficult.
Hmm.
But we kept putting money in his account that whatever he need, he can still buy, even though we can't talk to him. So the isolation and everything, maybe that was what made him to lead to die. Mm, I don't
Well,
know.
and a lot
But
of couples that are married 60 plus years that have
yeah,
happened in our family, my aunt and uncle,
exactly.
66 years, and it was like
Mm,
6 months later. You
exactly.
just, you know,
They were married for 50 years. So
yeah.
50 years isn't a joke. And with that, I said to myself, I love him. I still love him. He was a great father. He
Yeah,
was a great human being. And that was why I organized a service of songs for him. And I did it exactly the way he would have done it. He
that's
would have
perfect.
liked it. So, um, I learned from my mom that pleasing or living your life to make other people to be happy is doing yourself a disservice.
That's right. People please
So
it.
people pleasing, she never did that.
And you
She
can't
doesn't.
because it's
If
never you're never gonna do it.
Exactly. She doesn't do, like talk about you behind your back and be friends to you in your face. No, no, no. She'll tell you off right there to your face. And
Oh,
but
a
if you
woman
like
of
it,
my own
yeah.
cloth.
If
Right,
you like it,
right.
good. And if you don't like it,
And
you
people
know, it,
respect that.
exactly.
They
But,
want that
but
accountability.
unfortunately, in my culture, they would rather be nice to you while you were there
And
and
then
then go behind your back and badmouth you. And
oh,
she
they do
doesn't
that
do
over
that.
here. Listen,
Yeah.
I'm
Mm.
sorry, we only have 1 minute left, and I want people to
Oh,
know on the screen is the Global Achievers Club at Gmail. Now that's a great opportunity. We are involved, and a lot of the people that I coach and work with are involved. A lot of opportunities come through the Global Achievers Club to be a part of books, collaborative efforts, events, speaking opportunities, virtual, in person, coming up soon. All kinds of things. Get over to the Global Achievers Club at Gmail and ask what you need to ask. And also, if you'd like to see more into the world of Vicky Omifolaji, head over to the website, which is theglobalachievers.org. Go over and see all the wonderful things that she has going. And if you are planning on self-publishing a book, I would recommend you reach out to Vicky. First, you've written how many books, Vicky?
17.
17 books. And you just did my husband Brian is in the Global Achievers. Yeah, I knew it was within reach. I knew because I
Yes, it
saw it
is.
earlier.
Yeah.
And so there's always great opportunities if you want to be a self published person or an internationally published person. There it is, right there. There's just a few, right? So all of us are global achievers. We are
Yes,
people
we are.
that's right. Every word you speak, every thought you think, every action you take is the equivalent of a stone that you have now thrown in above the world in which you live. It's going to come down because that's one of the promises. What goes up, that's right, will come down, and it's going to create a ripple. Be the global impactor / influencer that you were designed to be. Vicky, I love you.
Love you tonight.
From top to bottom, bottom to top, side to side, side to side, corner to corner, and corner to corner. And I want to thank you so much for pouring into all of us here today and for being so vulnerable. I really appreciate you talking about a touchy subject. You know, sometimes we don't want to pick those certain scabs, but we find that the healing is what we're really picking at and not the scab at all, because the scab is gone and God has given us healing so that we can heal others. I believe that when we have these types of conversations, it is what forces the healing to never end, because we now take what you had and we heal with it and give it to someone else, and then they heal with it, so on and so forth. So that's what I want to leave you guys with today. Join me tomorrow. Linwood Cochran Jr., a young man, sent to me through Jason Cisneros. He found him on Clubhouse, and he has never shared his story before tomorrow. So you want to be here for that to support. And if you have an idea, you have a show idea, you have a story to share, you'll find out how you can be right here where Dr. Vicky is in the hot seat on Bathrobe Moments. You'll see that at the show closer. Vicky, thank you. God bless you. Have a wonderful day. My love and joy and light to all of your family. And keep doing what you're doing. We love you so much.
Thank you so much. God bless. Thank you, everyone.
Yes, and everybody out there, you guys get out there, do what we do, love up on everyone, make every situation a little better than the way you found it. I'll see you tomorrow morning, God willing, out on the front porch for our next episode of Bathrobe Moments.
Show me your soul. Baby, I'll show you mine. Show me your soul. Honey, it's way past time. How expensive do I have to be? Need I spell it out before you get it, baby? Show me your soul. And honey, I'll show you mine.